Okay, good morning and welcome to Iyun as part of Yeshiva YouTube. We're learning Maasros Maasros Gimel. We started today. I want to discuss basically Mishnah's Aleph and Beis, talk about really the same idea. Um, the way I explained it in the regular shir is not the normal way of explaining it. I just want to point that out in the Iyun shir to explain that the reason the Mishnah is talking about polim, right? A polim, when you hire people to eat from your field, to work in your field, to gather the fruits, to harvest them, to process them, you hire workers. So there's a lot of different ways of hiring somebody. You can pay them by the hour, or a different way is where you hire them and just pledge to pay their meals, to pay for their supper, dinner, lunch, sort of like a slave, right? If you pay $20 an hour, so he's not your eved, you're paying him by the hour, you're on even terms, right? So, and if, the way I'm explaining it, if you treat him like an eved, you obligate yourself to give him food, so an eved becomes like your property, it becomes like yourself, your extension of yourself. So therefore, the first mission says, you already get into your chatzar, so you have bailus, right? For you it's bailus, so therefore for your avodim it's also bailus. And they can't even snack anymore because it's hookful of Maasros, even though it wasn't nigmar malach, even though it wasn't fully processed yet. However, the people in your family, that's not yadok yadim, the Gemara says, right? Your children is not, you don't have a kinyan on the goof of the children. You have a kinyan on the goof of the avodim, you do. So, that's the way I explained it. I just want to point out the Rav and most Mefarshim explain it differently. They explain, avalim yesh lam alav mezonos, Shekita is lahen in Mishnah Aleph. The Rav says the einan oklim in Torah. Right? He explains the Yesh Lam Mazonos. Right? He said basically, I'm going to pay you, I'm going to feed you. They don't eat from the Torah, right? Because it's not a regular poel, right? I'm feeding you, so they don't eat from the Torah. However, if they do have mazonos, right? They have a mecca. He says if you pledge to give them food, right, to give them their breakfast, lunch, and dinner, so then it's a mecca, it's a business deal. That's what he says, a business deal. You made a business deal with the guy. If you hire the guy for $20 an hour, that's not a business deal. He said, well, basically he's explaining that if you hire him at $20 an hour, he has the right to eat min Torah, like the Torah says. So he has the right to eat min Torah. So he has the reshus to eat from the Torah. So it's not nigmar malachta. It's not a mecca. However, if you made a different arrangement of the Torah's arrangement is I pay you $20 an hour to help me harvest, and also in addition to that, you get to eat some of the fruits. However, if I make a different deal with you, that I say I'm going to pay for your breakfast, lunch, and dinner, right? Nothing to do with my food. So then it's not. You're not eating minat Torah over there. It's a mecca. It's a business deal, and therefore you can't eat because that's a totally different way of explaining it. I'm explaining it that the reason is because that's the reason it connects. Talks about banov b'nei beisa over there. Banov b'nei beisa. Your children you don't have a kinyan on the goof of your wife or your children. However, you do have a kinyan on your avodim. So that's the way I explained it. I think it fits more with the second Mishnah. Motzi pol of l'sadeh b'zman she'ein lahem alav mezonos ochlen upturim. This, they say, the Rav is talking about where you hire workers not to work in the field. You hire them, I don't know, to go collect ore. I don't know, from the ground and to beautify the ore and take out the gold or the silver or whatever you're taking out, the minerals from the ore. Nothing to do with going to a fruit field or a vegetable field. So how would that make sense? When you don't give them food, so then they're your polim. So then you can. The reason the Rav explains you could eat because they could eat because they're pater because it's a matana. However, if you give them food, so they're not your polim. So then they eat one by one. They could eat arai and not keva. So the explanation would be what? Shakatzis lahem. So why are they allowed to eat arai and not keva if you gave them mezonos? Yesh lahem alav mezonos. You pledged to give them a meal, so then they're not your polim. So they're not your polim. So it's also why is it not a mecher? Meaning, who cares that you give them mezonos, right? Um, so they're not your Poland, but why are they allowed to eat arai over here? Maybe they could even keva. They should eat keva over here also, right? Because there's no. I'm sorry, because according to the first reason, it would say like a mekach. I said, according to the Rav's first explanation of the first Mishnah, if you gave them food, so it's a mekach. You made a business deal with them. That's not the Torah. So if you made a business deal, so either if they're not working on that, you should be able to eat entirely kva, or not eat at all. I mean, you can pick one or the other, but why are you allowed to eat arai? That's why I favored my explanation. That it become like a kinyan aguf, and therefore, if they're a kinyan aguf, so it depends if in the Mishnah Aleph you went into your chatzar, so therefore it's koveya, you can't snack from it. However, the second Mishnah, you didn't go into the chatzar, it's not like merlach, so therefore you can snack like that because they're like your avodim. That's the way I explained it. I hope you enjoyed. See you in the next one.